In our lives today, which are, let's face it, increasingly digital, the whole idea of what money even is or what ownership means, it's really changing.
Absolutely.
So today we're doing a deep dive into the fascinating and often pretty confusing world of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack.
We've waded through stacks of info, where it started, where it might be going, the big winners and losers.
The government reactions too.
Exactly. And investing, NFTs, all of it. Our mission here, to pull out the really key stuff, the important insights, to give you a solid grasp without getting bogged down in the jargon.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. What is cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
Fundamentally, it's digital currency or virtual currency. And it uses cryptography that's complex coding for security.
Right. So it's like digital cash made secure through codes.
Precisely. And the really revolutionary part, often, is the tech behind it, blockchain.
Okay.
Imagine like a shared digital document, a ledger, that everyone on the network can see, and it's constantly updated with every transaction.
So everyone sees the same record.
Yeah, exactly. It's a public ledger, and it's decentralized, meaning no single company or bank controls it. It's maintained by a whole network of computers. They call them nodes.
Right, the nodes. So this idea, having a currency that's outside the grip of regular banks, of governments, that's the big shakeup here, isn't it?
That's the core disruption, yeah. And that really takes us back to how this all started.
With Bitcoin.
Exactly. The story, for most people, starts with Bitcoin, BTC. It appeared in 2009, introduced by this anonymous person or group, Satoshi Nakamoto.
Still anonymous, right?
Still anonymous. And think about the timing Bitcoin emerged right after the 2008 global financial crisis.
Ah, okay. Interesting timing.
Very. There was this, huge wave of distrust in the big financial institutions. Bitcoin was kind of conceived as a way around them, a currency that could work peer-to-peer without needing banks or government oversight.
So it's design, limited supply, peer-to-peer. That was a direct answer to the problems people saw in traditional finance back then.
You could definitely see it that way, a response to perceived weaknesses, yeah.
Okay, so let's jump forward. It feels like crypto's at another turning point now. What are people predicting? Are we going to see digital currencies become, like, normal everywhere?
Well, that's certainly what many are expecting, or at least predicting. We're seeing signs pointing towards more mainstream adoption.
Like businesses using it.
Yeah, businesses, even traditional finance giants, are looking at how to integrate crypto. And then there's this whole other angle, central bank digital currencies, CBDCs.
Right, government-backed digital money.
Exactly. You've got places like China, the EU, actively working on their own digital versions of the yuan or the euro, which, raises fascinating questions about how those will interact with decentralized cryptos like Bitcoin.
It definitely sounds like governments can't just ignore it anymore.
No way. We're seeing regulation ramp up globally. Governments are trying to get a handle on it,
Yeah.
protect investors, stop illegal stuff.
Makes sense.
But at the same time, the tech itself is just racing ahead. Innovations are making blockchains faster, more scalable. Think Ethereum 2.0, Solana. They're tackling those early bottlenecks, like slow transaction times.
But it's not a sure thing yet that crypto takes over.
No, definitely not guaranteed. The estimates for deep integration into the global financial system, still maybe 50 to 70% chance based on what we looked at. It really hangs on regulation getting clearer, wider acceptance, and crucially, whether these systems stay secure.
Okay, security is huge. Now let's talk about the money side, the human stories. People who made absolute fortunes and others who lost big time. It's been a real roller coaster.
Oh, absolutely. A wild ride. I mean, the early Bitcoin days.
Yeah.
So incredible stories. Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever they are, mines maybe 1 million Bitcoin early on.
Right.
That's potentially a staggering fortune untouched.
Wow.
Then you have other early believers, Roger Ver, the Winklevoss twins, Michael Saylor, and MicroStrategy. They made huge gains as Bitcoin's price just exploded.
And the people who built the infrastructure.
Right, founders of the big exchanges. Changpeng Zhao, CZs,
Right.
Binance, and Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX, obviously. That was before the collapse. But he built a massive platform. And Vitalik Buterin, co-founder of Ethereum. Huge beneficiaries. It shows the potential, right? Getting in early.
But like you said, there's a massive flip side, often tragic.
Absolutely. The history is littered with major losses, too. That FTX collapse in 2022, just enormous. Around $8 billion lost, hitting people all over the world.
Yeah, that was huge news.
And the same year, the LNA and UST crash. These were supposed to be stable coins, pegged to traditional money. They just evaporated, wiped out something like $40 billion in market value, incredibly fast.
40 billion. Wow.
Yeah. And even going back further, 2014, the Mt. Gox hack. That was one of the first big exchange disasters. About $450 million in Bitcoin stolen back then.
So these aren't small risks we're talking about.
Not at all. These events are stark reminders. Volatility, exchange failures, dodgy stablecoins, outright hacks. It's all part of the landscape.
Which probably explains why governments are reacting so differently everywhere.
It's fascinating, isn't it? The range of approaches. You've got El Salvador, which went all in, made Bitcoin legal tender.
Bold move.
Very. Then you have places like Switzerland, Singapore, the UAE. They're generally more crypto-friendly, trying to foster innovation with, some rules.
And the U.S.?
The U.S. is more in the cautious regulating camp. You've got the SEC, the CFTC involved, lots of legal battles ongoing, like the one with Ripple over XRP. It's still being figured out.
Okay. And then there are countries completely against it?
Right. China's the main example. They've banned crypto trading, banned mining.
Yeah.
But interestingly, they're developing their own CBDC, the digital yuan. So not against digital currency, just decentralized non-state ones.
Interesting distinction. So after all that, the volatility, the regulation, the potential,
Yeah.
the burning question for a lot of people listening is probably, should I actually buy crypto? What did the sources suggest?
Well, they definitely presented both sides of the coin, the potential upside. Huge returns are possible. I mean, look at Bitcoin's growth since 2009. It's astronomical. It can also diversify your investments, maybe, and sometimes make international payments easier or cheaper.
But the downsides?
Big ones. We talked about volatility prices can swing wildly very quickly. Security is a major risk. Hacks, scams, losing your private keys. And that regulatory uncertainty we mentioned adds another layer of risk. What's legal today might change tomorrow.
So what's the takeaway advice?
The consistent message was, only invest what you can genuinely afford to lose. Don't bet the farm, and diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one very volatile basket.
Sensible advice. Okay, let's shift slightly to NFTs, non-fungible tokens. They were everywhere for a bit, felt like peak hype, and then it seemed to quieten down. What's the current state of play? Are they still a thing?
That's a really good reflection of what happened. So NFTs basically are unique digital assets. Proof of ownership verified on a blockchain. Could be digital art, music, game items, unique stuff.
Right, the unique part is key. Fungible means interchangeable, like dollars. Non-fungible means one of a kind.
Exactly. Now, yeah, the crazy hype bubble of 2022, early 2023, that definitely burst. Trading volumes dropped off a cliff.
So they're dead?
Not necessarily dead, just maybe finding their actual level.
Yeah.
They haven't vanished. People are still finding real uses for them. In gaming, for example, owning unique items that are truly yours.
Okay.
Ticketing is another area, verifying tickets, maybe fighting scalpers. Loyalty programs, giving unique digital rewards.
Yeah.
And in metaverse projects, representing virtual land or items.
And big companies are still involved.
Yeah, big brands like Nike, Adidas, Starbucks, they're still experimenting, using NFTs to engage customers in new ways. So less speculative frenzy, maybe more focus on utility now.
Okay, that makes sense. And how do NFTs actually connect to the crypto we've been talking about? It's all linked, right?
Fundamentally linked, yeah. NFTs live on blockchains. Ethereum is a really popular one for NFTs.
Right.
And crucially, you buy and sell NFTs using cryptocurrency. So you typically use Ether, Ethereum's crypto, to buy an NFT artwork, for instance.
Got it. So the NFT is the unique digital thing you own.
Yeah, proof of ownership for that specific digital item.
But the transaction, the money changing hands, that's usually crypto.
Exactly. So you can kind of see NFTs as one specific use case within the bigger crypto world, focused on digital ownership, the creator economy, owning unique stuff online.
Right. So bringing this all together as we wrap up our deep dive, it's definitely a dynamic space. Crypto, NFTs, complex, still evolving really fast, huge potential wins, huge potential risks.
Absolutely. For me, a really striking point is how Bitcoin's birth was so tied to that post-2008 crisis distrust. It really underlines the why behind it all.
Yeah, the motivation.
And just the sheer scale and speed of some losses, like that $40 billion Luna West crash. It's a serious reality check about the volatility here.
It is a lot to take in. And if you feel like you've just scratched the surface listening to this, that's totally understandable. But we hope this conversation has given you a clearer picture, some valuable insights into this ever-changing landscape.
Yeah, and maybe it leaves you with a question to chew on. As digital ownership gets more common, what does that really mean for us long term? What are the impacts of decentralized finance? And how will this constant push and pull between innovation and regulation shape what comes next? It's definitely a story that's still being written,